Hey everybody, welcome back to Cody Tarot. I'm your tarot reader, Cody. So for today's pick a card, we're going to be doing who you are as your core self, or who you truly are at your core. So we're going to be getting into the deeper side of your personalities today and figuring out who you truly are on the inside and as your like deepest self, basically. We have 5 groups in front of us to choose from. If you've never done a pick a card before, you look over the groups and intuitively select a option before us. We have 5 basically different crystals here. And once you select your option, you go with your associated group. This one's group 1, this one 2, this one 3, 4, and 5. You go down to the timestamps or description box. You find your group, corresponding group. You click the timestamp and it fast forwards you to your reading. So without further ado, I'll give you guys a moment to look over the crystals. I'll hold them up one by one after you guys want to look at them for a second. So you can also see them up close. Okay, I'll do that now. So for group 1, our first crystal is tiger iron. Here's the back of it. And for group 2, our next crystal for group 2 is desert glass. For group 3, we have Septarian. This crystal is group 3. Group 4, our crystal is Prehnite. That's group 4. And last, group 5, we have Hematoid Quartz. So take all the time you need to pick your crystal. I'll give you one more moment to pick your crystal. In today's video, we're going to be doing all the shuffling right after the crystal selection. So we'll have a period where we're going to be shuffling the cards. At least that's my plan. Yeah, that's that way, like I can kind of screen the cards first to see if we have any that have nudity on them or whatever, and I can cover it up with a Post-it or something like that before the reading. Okay, yeah, let's get on with the reading, starting with shuffling, and then we'll get into group number 1 with tiger iron. Hey everyone, welcome back to the shuffling portion of today's reading. So let's get on with the shuffling. I'm going to start with the deck of tarot cards, and then we'll shuffle all the piles. So let's start. I want to start with tarot today. Then I'm going to be pulling some animal oracle cards for you guys, and also some playing cards. We're going to keep it pretty simple today. Give you a little insight into some of my shuffling techniques. I like to cut the deck into multiple piles when I shuffle sometimes to get a really clear like cleansing of the deck's energies. I know some people use sage and stuff like that to cleanse their decks. I pretty much just shuffle enough until I feel like the deck's ready for the next reading. So let's see. I think we're about ready to pull cards. So let's see. So we got... I feel like pulling from the middle for this next portion, and the bottom from this portion. Let's see, 4 will fit on there, right? Yeah, okay, so now we're gonna shuffle some playing cards. And last but not least, we'll draw some oracle cards. and then we will get right into the reading. Let's see, we're going to be using the Kim Krans Animal Oracle deck today. Okay, we are going to pull a card to represent who you truly are at your core. And then we're also going to pull one more Animal Oracle card to represent who you are on the surface. And that one will go on top. Perfect. All right, you guys, the piles have been shuffled. I will see you in your reading, starting with group number 1, the Tiger Iron. Okay, group 1, this is if you picked the Tiger Iron right here. Pretty cool stone, cool pattern in it. Let's see, let's get into your reading. So first card on the top is your surface characteristics. So this will be how you appear, and we have oyster. Then our next, I'm gonna put this down here probably actually. And then our next Animal Oracle card is your core self, which we have swan. Then we're gonna pull some playing cards for all these different aspects of yourself. And then the tarot cards for the underlying parts of those aspects. Okay, so your tarot cards, we have the 9 of Pentacles reversed, we have the Knight of Cups upright, we have the High Priestess upright, and we also have the 4 of Pentacles reversed. Each one of these tarot cards is associated with a playing card. We have this one associated with the King of Diamonds, the Knight of Cups associated with the Queen of Clubs, the High Priestess associated with the 9 of Spades, and the 4 of Pentacles associated with the 6 of Spades. Okay. Let's get right into your reading. So first I want to start off with the oyster and the swan. So the oyster is representative of the person who you seem like on the surface. The swan is representative of the person who you are in your core. You can think of this more as like someone who's gotten to know you a little bit better versus someone who doesn't know you so well. So with the oyster here, I definitely think people think you're very closed off right off the bat. I think people think you're you have a lot of walls up is kind of what I'm seeing. With the 2 water symbols up here represented by both animals, the good news is people know what type of person you are. First of all, you're very extremely intuitive. I'm seeing like multiple indications of like an extremely intuitive individual. I would say most of the time your intuition, like not that it's a competition or anything, but it kind of beats out other people's intuitions. When other people have their intuitive hunch about something and you have yours, it's always like yours comes out on top as the right answer or the right path forward or something like that. There's something about that your intuition is just such a core part of who you are. It's not even like a tool that you use. Like some people, their intuition is like a tool they can like draw upon, like a it's not even something that's like their core being is kind of what I'm seeing. Like, but for you guys, it's your core being. It's like a part of you that is at your like deep nature. It's just extremely sharp intuition. A spirituality could be present too. We do have a 9 right above the intuitive card. So there is this idea that like your spirituality is tied with your intuitive abilities is kind of what I'm seeing. There's more to that 9 that I'm going to get into in a little bit, but I still want to start off with the oyster and the swan. So the oyster just represents how people see you as kind of like a little bit closed off, which is interesting because there's this light shining from behind the oyster. So I do feel like people, even though they see you as closed off, they see you having like an inner light or something that is going to provide beauty to the world. My air conditioner just went off, so that's confirmation. I think that people do see that you guys have an inner goodness to you is kind of what I'm seeing. With the 2 water symbols here and the intuitive ear, people don't like mistake you for someone who's not intuitive. People pretty much know you're a spiritual person, or that you have a solid intuition, or that you're a little mystical or mysterious or something like that. Mysterious is coming through really strongly because we get that double confirmation with the swan here. It's interesting because with the swan, I usually see this card as a representation of surface attributes in someone. Like when I'm doing personality readings, the swan is someone who I always see as like in traditional, like when I would read this for someone else, it would be like the swan kind of appears on the surface like they're very easygoing and effortless, but underneath the surface, they're pedaling furiously, trying to keep afloat. Or there's a reflection here in the surface of the water. So it's almost like people think that what they see is what they get. They don't think anything goes deeper. And I think that's interesting here because in your personality, in your case of your core being is what you see is what you get. So almost like people might see more mystery to you than there actually really is. Like you might be a more simple than people think you are. So you might have an inner self that's more simple, even though equally intuitive. I feel like you guys have a very strong inner dream world. But the thing is like you're more simple than people perceive. People might perceive you as this really complicated individual, someone who has like many layers, with a pearl underneath or inside, like something they can dig through to get to some kind of hidden treasure within you. But with the swan card here, I am seeing that like your outer self is kind of a reflection of your inner self, but people don't see that. They think it's like a barrier is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. They think that your outer self is like this barrier and you have some part of you inside that's different from the outer self. But you guys, what I'm seeing here is you kind of, it's not that you wear your heart on your sleeve, you wear your dreams on your sleeve is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. So for example, just the fact that you're floating along in this river, it's like, it's more easygoing for you, or life feels more, how do I put this, simpler than a lot of people think your life seems. I feel like a lot of people might see you as more complicated or complex, but for you guys, your core self is pretty simple. It's like, it's one of those things where it's like you have a really like easygoing inner nature is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. I think friends who get closer to you can see this, but even some people that are close with you, I don't think they see this. I don't know if you reveal this side of yourself so easily. It's just that on the inside, you do have this kind of feeling of easygoing nature. It's funny because people can kind of tell who you are by the way you like dress and the like art you consume and the movies you like to watch. And people can really get a strong sense of your identity based on that. But people don't assume that's all there is to you. They just think that's like a part of you that, you like to watch these movies, or you like to listen to this art or something like that. It's because people think you have this like hard outer shell that like people have to get through to get to you. So a lot of people won't even try to get to know you because they won't want to deal with trying to pry open this shell that you have to get to the gold inside, Other people who are more psychologically astute is I'm kind of seeing people who are more into psychology, more into people's characteristics, the way people behave, are more prone to wanting to get to know you. But the problem with this is another issue with these people too. It's like with the swan card, and once they get to the inner core, they're like, oh, that's all there is. Like what was on the outside, what was on the inside. And I feel like they're a little disappointed. Like they were hoping for some kind of secret or some kind of like hidden message or something as a reward for them, like approaching, getting on the inside of your personality, basically. So the people who I think get along with you the best, I think are people who see your outer appearance, resonate with the art you create. If people who share the same taste as you, as far as like music, art, movies, clothing, people who share the same taste as you, I think get along with you the best. It's funny because that seems superficial or shallow to some people, and people might think you're actually way deeper than that, but it's actually that those physical things are a representation of your inner world. And so it's almost like other people who are into those things are like a resonation, like they resonate with your inner self as well, if that makes sense. So there are people who are really going to click with you on a deep, deep level. It's going to go just beyond those tastes and those superficial things, and you guys will have shared values, you'll have shared beliefs. It really goes deeper than just the outer appearance, but what we're seeing here with the swan is that outer appearance is a reflection of the inner self. So let's get into the core aspects about you, about your core, the building blocks to your core. We see here with King of Diamonds, you might have an outer persona of somewhat of a business person, or someone who is very practical or realistic with money, or something along those lines, or someone who knows how to sell things, or someone who's very entrepreneurial. There's kind of this vibe that you're a master of finances, or at least that's how you appear to others. The thing is, with this Nine of Pentacles in reverse, one thing about your core self is there is an inner fear of prosperity, not having enough. There's also, this is kind of something you just think about in general. Like, when will I have enough money to afford all the things that I need in life? Like, when will I be fully independent? The independence is coming through strongly. So this is one of those things that your money-making abilities with the King of Diamonds, the things that people see about you, might make you a little bit lonely, or might make you feel a little bit like a loner. But I think, truthfully, and on, at least with this part of your personality, we have 3 other aspects to go over. There is this vibe of being very curious of, like, what would it be like if I could just afford everything on my own? Like, I think there's a feeling of wanting to be self-sufficient, and then this goes deeper into like codependency, right? I feel like you guys are good leaders in a sense with the King here. You also have the Queen here, which talks about being service-oriented to others. So you have both of those aspects to you, just masculine and feminine to your core nature. You have both. But what I'm seeing here with your more masculine side that deals with like money and values and things like that, I am seeing that you might lead people and you might feel like you're a part of a team all the time, but sometimes I feel like you guys just want to be independent. There's this vibe here that you dream about this, or you think about this, or you think about what would it be like if I was financially independent. And so you guys kind of ponder that. Like, what would it be like if I could just survive all on my own without anyone else? And this is something you guys kind of think about. Because it's in reverse, it can represent somewhat of a weakness. It's almost like your core self is going to be better off still managing these people. It's like your destiny almost to manage other people and resources and things like that. And kind of like, I don't know, King of Diamonds is kind of like a businessman card, is kind of the vibe that I get. But it doesn't have to be like that. It could just be that you guys are like more entrepreneurial, or you have like a lot of like ability to manage others or something like that, or take the lead in situations. Is kind of one thing that I'm seeing. I'm going to move on to the other cards. These are kind of going hand in hand, and there's like a crossover between these 3. And this one kind of blends into this one too. Basically, the King of Diamonds and the Nine of Pentacles is like a part of you that just is there, but it's almost like fragmented from the other 3 parts, if that makes sense. The other 3 parts work really well together. It's interesting because the Queen of Clubs talks about that you guys have a quick intuition. Like, you come up with answers pretty quickly, and just you have an intuition in general. With this black cat here, I am seeing that like there is a like possibly in a past life you guys were a cat, or like you felt like you were a cat in a past life, or you have a really strong association with cats in general. The other thing too is what I'm seeing is with the Knight of Cups being someone who delivers a message, I am saying that you guys feel like destined to be in service of others, but to deliver intuitive messages to other people. I don't think you guys are ones to keep quiet for too long. If you see something that you need to say and your intuition is telling you to say it, my air just turned back on, so it's confirmation. If you see something and you need to say, you're the type of people that say something if you see something, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. And I do see that when you guys do see something, you feel free to deliver that message to others. Yeah, something that I am seeing too is with the King of Diamonds, you could capitalize on your intuition. I do see that some of you could end up being professional psychics, or people who like really share with others their intuitive gifts and make a lot of money based off that. But I do see that in a way you guys are moving away from the idea of like, oh, I want to be really rich and wealthy, and you're moving into this idea of really embracing your intuitive nature and your mission here on life. Knight of Cups is a card about a mission. I always see this guy as like a mission or a messenger. We see the wings here, which reminds me of Hermes, and I do see that as kind of like an aspect of delivering a message, like someone who's bringing the truth to others. So we see that again here with the Queen of Clubs, that you guys are highly intuitive. And it's almost like your job to bring the truth to others is kind of what I'm seeing. It's it's how you feel, it's part of your value, like your worth, your sense of self-worth is like bringing these messages to others is what I see. Even if people don't understand them, because we do see that with the High Priestess, sometimes with people who are really intuitive, sometimes people are not, on board with the next thing coming down the pike. And so people might not understand the message that you're delivering. But I do see that people who are open and receptive to it are really the right people to hear it. Even people who aren't open and receptive to it, even if you tell them and they think you're weird offhand or something like that, they're going to come back to you and be like, whoa, what you told me was right. And I'm sure you guys have had that at multiple points in your life. You've had that people coming back up to you and being like, yep, you were right. You had the right method down, or you had the right thing down, or you had the right thing that you told me. With the 9 of Spades here, I do see that you guys are givers. There is this vibe that you have a very giving nature. And we see that again here with the intuition. You're specifically giving like intuitive hunches to other people. So first of all, you're incredibly psychic. With the 9 of Spades here, there's a lot in this lifetime you're here to let go of. I think you guys are on one of your like final lifetimes, to be honest. I think I don't even know if I believe that there is a final lifetime, to be honest, but I am seeing that you have a lot of experience on this planet. I think you guys easily see what's going on behind the curtains, and that's part of your core self. And also, I think part of your core self is you're a giver. You're a giving personality. I think that the more you give, the stronger your intuition becomes. It's like the more you let go in this lifetime of like things that you no longer need, and you pass those on to other people who need those, I think that you become more and more intuitive as time goes on. With the 6 of Spades and the 4 of Pentacles, I do see there is a little tension here where you guys might think like, I don't really want to be a giver. I want to, part of you, I think this is something else that you think about. You think about, I want to just hold on to all my wealth and save for the future and just hold and like keep it for the future, right? And I'm not necessarily saying that you have to give your wealth. The 9 of Spades is kind of like giving, like service is kind of the vibe that I'm seeing here. Like you might want to give acts of service to other people, like help them with a specific task or something like that. Or you might want to help people with stuff with their health or something like that. Otherwise, I'm just seeing a general feeling of helping people in the spiritual sense. With the money here, I do see that you will be able to accumulate enough to like survive. And I know that that's something you guys think about. The thing is with the 4 of Pentacles here, I am seeing that like the more you hold on to things that you need to let go of, the more fate with the 6 of Spades here is going to bring you these karmic blowbacks, if that makes sense. There is some lessons here to be learned in this lifetime about like holding on to things that you no longer need at the expense of letting someone else have them who really truly needs them. And I think that you guys are learning this lesson. I think with the 6 of Spades here, you guys have a strong fated quality about your life in general. I think that you guys maybe have realized at this point that your life has a specific path. You have a specific destiny. Compared to other people, I feel like you just feel like you could feel like you're on train tracks and you can't get off. It's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. And part of that is meant to be there. It's like that's meant to happen. The thing is like whenever you guys feel slowed down or encumbered in any which way, think of a train that has to put in a whole bunch of fuel to carry all of these objects to a final destination, right? And think of you guys kind of having to, like, if you want the train to go faster, you have to offload stuff at these different train stops and give all your stuff away to others is kind of the vibe that I'm seeing. So think about this. It's like you have all these intuitive insights, right? You're having all this intuitive knowledge, and who you are at your core is someone who's accumulating and collecting this intuitive information, right? The journey is to share it and express it and give those insights to others to help them with their life, because as that train moves forward, the more you offload your thoughts onto others and your intuitive insights onto others, the faster that train goes, the less you're going to encounter these obstacles that fate has in store for you, because you're fulfilling your purpose, you're fulfilling your mission. So yeah. I also see this with this yellow flower here with this cat. I do think that your friends are a little mysterious as well. I think you guys get along with other mysterious people. I don't see you guys really clicking too well with people who are super bubbly or kind of like, I see you dealing well with people who are more feline-like in nature as far as their attitude. So, kind of like, I'll come to you and I feel like it. You don't, like, I don't see you as more of like like, you know how they talk about dog and cat people, how like cats kind of are like, oh, pet me, you'll pet me, I'll let you pet me when I want you to pet me, and dogs are just like always on you, like wanting love and attention. You have a more of like, friends have a more of a feline nature. I think you guys, with this sense of independence, you like giving independence to other people. You like letting people feel like they can do things on their own, or they're independent on their own selves, and I think you guys want to be independent as well. I think with these two cards combined with the King and Queen, if you guys ever got into a managerial position, I do think that you would give people a lot of freedom in their roles, in whatever company you are working for. I don't know if you guys are the most micromanaging types, is kind of what I'm seeing. I think you guys have this way of giving that intuitive insight to help people and letting them just be on their own path. There might be a journey for you in this lifetime to create a sense of independence from others in general. So for example, instead of having like a few specific friends that you give intuitive knowledge to again and again and again and again, you guys might have this way of, giving intuitive knowledge to someone that you meet, almost like a stranger, or someone that you meet for a short period of time. And then once you've delivered that knowledge, it's time to move on to someone else. I see that you guys are so intuitive, that you have so much information, and there's only so many of you, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. That's the thing I'm hearing. It's like, there's only so many people like you on this planet that are this intuitive, and we need you to share this information with more people. It's rare. It's like the oracles in ancient Greece. There were only a few of them, and everyone came to the oracle to get information, to get messages, to get information for the future, or to see how a battle would play out or something like that. There's a very strong vibe that you guys are a oracle in a sense, and you're meant to deliver many messages to many different people. It's not just meant to be with a select small group of friends. So in a way, we have a very extroverted quality to you, which is funny because it's kind of at odds with how people view you. I do think this is good, though, that people view you this way. It's going to protect you from people who want to use your gifts for ill intent, right? This oyster thing, I think this is almost like an aura. This surface area is like an aura that your angels and guides are putting over you to protect you from people who want to use your gifts for like manipulation or material gain or something like that, or use your gifts. Not that you guys can't help people with material gain, stuff like that. I just see people who are like greedy and want to like, how do I put it? Like capitalize on you guys. Like I think if people like, how do I put this? Because of this shield, you won't have to worry about that, is basically what I'm saying. You won't have to worry about people taking advantage of you. You won't have to worry about people. The only thing, no, I don't even see that actually. I was going to say, with this Four of Pentacles here, the only like trap that I see you guys finding yourselves in is wanting to hold on to all of your resources and your knowledge and just use it for selfish ends. You guys in this lifetime, you're meant to be generous with your knowledge. You're meant to be generous with your intuition. You're meant to share it. You're meant to express it. It's kind of what I'm seeing. If you hold on to your wealth of information, I do see karma has a way of bringing people into your life that are more karmic in nature. You could even experience some health problems, like karmic type of health problems, if you try to hold on too much to your knowledge and insight. One thing that it could represent is like just holding on too much to the point where you start to wear yourself down on the inside because you're not expressing that intuitive knowledge, if that makes sense. I'm going to end the reading there. I think I about covered everything. Yeah, just remember with this oyster card, even though you might think sometimes like, well, I don't want to be closed off. I don't want to seem like a closed off person, or I don't want people to assume I'm standoffish or anything like that. The thing is, it's a good thing. The reason it's a good thing is it's because it's protecting you from people who would try to like take advantage, if that makes sense. They would try to take advantage of your gifts, want to use you all the time, almost like you're a machine. And you guys are not a machine. Yes, you're a very giving person and you're meant to reach a lot of people, but you're not a machine. You're not meant to just churn out intuitive information for people at any given notice. If anyone knows anything about intuition, it comes when it comes. You can't just chuck it out. You can't just like churn it out like you're just some kind of like cog in some kind of like factory, so. All right, I'm going to end the reading there. If you guys like this reading, please like or comment below. If you really enjoyed this reading and you resonated with my energy, my style of reading, all that jazz, you can subscribe to the channel. And with that said, we're going to move on to group 2 with the Desert Glass. Thank you guys again so much for watching. It was truly an honor to read for you today. I will see you guys in the next one. Bye. Hey, group 2, this is if you picked the desert glass, this lovely blue. It's not really a stone, it's a chunk of glass that was found in the desert. So it's not really a stone that like a rare gem or anything like that. You can get this stuff relatively cheap. If you see anything like this online and someone's selling it to you as a gemstone, it's not a gemstone, it's desert glass. It shouldn't be expensive. And there's different colors and stuff that you can get and all that good stuff. So let's get into your reading. First, we have on the top your surface self, which we have as the bat. Then for your next, we have your inner core self, which we have as the cheetah. Then we're going to pull out your playing cards that we have here. And now we're going to pull off your tarot cards we have here. Okay. Your tarot cards that we have today are the Nine of Wands upright, the Ten of Cups upright, the Eight of Swords upright, and the Five of Swords reversed. Okay. So my air just turned on, right? I don't know if you guys heard that. I don't know when the editing is going to happen, but the air turned on right when I wanted to start reading. Got one final message about your surface self, and then the air just kind of kicked in. So I'm taking that as a confirmation. So I'll start with that one thing that I thought about right when the air kicked in is with this bats have sonar, right? And with this moon up here, I think that on the surface, people see you as very intuitive. You guys might have a very outwardly spiritual appearance, but I am seeing that on the inside, you're not as spiritual as you seem on the outside is kind of the vibe that I'm getting, or you're not as mystical or, how do I put it? Like it's almost like you live in the spiritual world or the spiritual community with other spiritual people, but you wouldn't classify yourself as like an intuitive person, or you wouldn't classify yourself as someone who is, how do I put this? Like you wouldn't even classify yourself as someone who's like, a creature of the night, or someone who, because the thing is, your core self over here is the cheetah, right? We see that one of the reasons why you're attracted to this stuff, like spirituality and intuition and tarot cards and stuff like that, is because it kind of represents a weakness that you have. It's not necessarily your strength, is kind of what I'm seeing here. It's like you rely on spiritual people for like certain needs in life or like experiences to be gained. And I think you guys have tried to develop your spirituality in the past, and it maybe doesn't go like the way you want it to go or something like that. There could be, because there is a little bit of a disconnect with your outer world and your inner world. It's like your inner world is this person who's very energetic, can get a lot of tasks done. I see that with the cheetah, that you have kind of like when you set your eye on a goal, you achieve it no matter what. You guys have this determination about you. If you didn't know that already, you know now. You have a determination about you. Like when you want something, I think you guys have to want it first of all. If you don't really want something, you're not going to attain it, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. I don't see you guys really putting forth the effort to follow someone else's goal. Honestly, I feel like you guys are only going to follow the goals you want to follow. But when you want something, you put in a lot of effort to attain it. With this cheetah card here, the cheetah also has tears in its eyes. So I do see that you guys feel the deeper side of life, and you do feel the sadness underlying major life events. This is where you are spiritual, very much so. So even though people might assume you have an excellent intuition, that you are a very spiritual person, your true spirituality lies in the fact that you can feel the emotions of everyday life, or you can feel almost like an empath, but it's very much like you feel for others. It's like you can feel the feelings of like, how do I put this? Like if you know someone has someone who's passed on, you feel the sadness of that as if you were the one who had that person pass. It's like you can really relate to others. Is kind of where I'm going with this. And you do feel the sadness in your own life. You know the moments in your life where you were the saddest, or you were the most hurt, or you were the most wounded, and you guys remember those. You don't shy away from those moments. You think, yeah, that moment in my life really hurt. And so I can expect that this moment in this other person's life is, probably hurts just as much, right? So I do see that you guys have this empathy. However, I don't see you guys expressing it to too many people. It's almost like you don't express that empathetic side to yourself. It's something you keep to yourself, and you secretly sympathize with people from afar, is kind of what I'm seeing. Maybe some of you express it to like closer people, but because this is represented as your core self, most of you're not expressing this sympathy towards others. You're just thinking in your head like, man, that's got to be so hard for them to go through. You might treat that person more kindly or something like that, but I don't think you guys would ever confront someone about deeper, darker emotions, because it's almost like that's such a private part of you that I don't think you would want to confront other people about that to them, if that makes sense. Your surface self is interesting. Bats and the moon here, I'm just seeing someone very intuitive. I think people think you're more independent than you actually are. With the fire sign here, I do see you guys are more impulsive, but maybe in public you keep that impulsivity in check. But I do see, like, with closer family associations, like we see here with the 10 of Cups and the Jack of Spades, you guys are a lot more creative, impulsive, very much like Leo vibes. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys have like planets in your 4th and 5th house, because it's like very much like the creative, like romantic side of you, impulsive side of you, and then also like dealing with family is like those two are kind of merged. Anyway, so with your surface self, people think you're very intuitive because you move through the world with like this extra sensory perception. Like it's like you have sonar, so people are always just wondering, like, how do they know to show up at this place at this time and like be here when all these people were here? And you guys might think in your heads, like, you might just not realize how you do it, but you might get it to the right place at the right time, or just show up at the right where you need to be when you need to be. People assume you know a lot, but I think a lot of it comes from other like relying on other intuitive people, right? And I think the reason you are or seem intuitive on the surface, or you seem like you, for example, like you might dress with like you might wear like a pentagram or something like that to indicate that you're like a spiritual person, but then people might just associate you as a spiritual person because of the way your appearance is and how you present yourself and how you talk and stuff like that. But really deeper down to the core, there's this deeper sense of empathy and a really energetic personality. I think that you guys hold back your energy quite a bit. You don't express your energy because you're worried how it'll offend people or affect them. And so I do see that, like, on a deeper level, you have this like well of sadness about you. You really feel the struggle of life really deeply and intensely. And so you can relate to other people going through struggles. And also on your core self, you have like a very energetic side. I'm going to get to that with the family thing right here, because I'll just jump to this first. I'll cover this in a second. One thing with your energy is like you expend it on your family and your close ones. So I feel like with other people, they might not see you being that energetic. With the bat here, people might see you like flitting about from like flower to flower, or flitting about from like thing to thing, catching a moth here, catching a moth there. So with the bat, that just basically means that you seem kind of carefree or unencumbered. But with your family, you're like impulsive and passionate. I do see that you have this way of, if you don't have an immediate family yet, if you're still single and you're still looking to marry, I do see like most likely you guys will get married in the future. Most likely you will have children. It just looks like it's in your path. Also, if you are a part of a family right now, whether it's a chosen family or a family you grew up with, the people that you really deeply care about, your close inner circle, those people you just expend all the energy on, right? You are energetic, you take care of tasks for them, you help them out, you do things for them. You are very much service oriented in that way and dedicated, but also you're also energetic in a playful way. And I want to keep that like more focused in the service oriented way, because even though you guys do service your family, like, for example, you like do things for them, like maybe you go get the groceries for them when they're feeling tired, or you go do this, you go do something else, wash their car or something for them. You do all these practical tasks for people, right? I do see the main focus of your energy is on creative, playful things. So for example, it's not like you're always just doing tasks for someone, like someone's errand boy, right? Or errand girl, right? You're in this vibe of really having the energy to be playful with your family. So that means playing with your kids, going on adventures with them. Maybe that means putting on performances for your parents when you were a child, like putting on little plays and shows, just really expressing yourself fully. Jack of Spades is the actor card. It is a card of expression and creativity in life. So I do see that although it indicates being a hard worker and putting in forth that work like a spade suit would, it does talk about just being playful in general and just being fun and easygoing. I do see that you might play little tricks on your family, like be a little deceptive and, fool them once or twice here and there. And just, I think your guys' creative, like, I don't think in your regular life, lie too much to others, but I think in your family it's not taken so seriously, and I think you can like fib or tell a story or something like that, and people know that you're just joking. I think sometimes in your family life, your family might not know when you're being serious or joking, but it doesn't matter, because that's something that they appreciate about you, right? You're only opening up to them because they're the close ones in your life. Those are the close people to you. So this is a strong part of your core, right? It's just a part of your core that you only show your family. So you guys might be, when you came to this reading, thinking like, okay, who am I? Am I this spiritual person, or I'm this other person that I am with my family? Technically, you're both. It's both a part of your whole makeup, right? But at your core, who you are at your core is more of someone who's very energetic, playful, loves goofing around, loves having fun with their family, loves creating happiness in the family environment, loves doing things for their family. I do see you guys as this kind of like very creative, expressive, energetic force in your immediate family environment. So that kind of went with the cheetah the most, but I'll get into the other cards right now. 10 of clubs and the 9 of wands indicates a few things. The first thing that I'm thinking is that if you guys are really worn down in life, or you're really feeling unhealthy, or you're having a health condition or something like that, there is this vibe that a lot of it could just be a lot of information on the mind, that you guys are just thinking a lot and you need to express yourself more. That might be a good time to go integrate with your family and talk to them about some of the things going on in your life. Express some of that, this 10 of clubs energy. I also see that you guys get really worn out from too much talking. So for example, going back to this Jack of Spades being the actor card, it also can represent being an artist. So it might be that you create things for your family, maybe not necessarily in a verbal, communicative, talkative way, but with your family, you create things. Like maybe you draw your family, like maybe you draw your eldest daughter like a picture of a pony, and she takes that to school and shows it off to her friends, and she's very happy about it. Or maybe you craft and build your son like a wooden truck or something like that, or something along those lines. Or maybe you cook a really excellent dinner and use your creative juices to cook this amazing dinner for your family, and they're like, oh my gosh, it tastes so good. There's all these different ways this can play out. This creative energy can play out that's not through communication. With the 10 of clubs here, I do see that communication paired with this 9 of wands could be very difficult. And it's interesting because it's a double-edged thing with you guys, and I do see you guys struggle with this a lot, and so I'm going to try to explain it to the best of my ability. But essentially, when you have too much on your mind, right, and you're thinking about too many things, you need to communicate those things, specifically to someone really close to you. Now, I am seeing that that will help your health, but I'm also seeing that if you have to communicate all the time, it's not going to help your health that much either. So for example, you guys might just like really disdain talking a lot, or communicating a lot, or sharing a lot. But there are moments where you do need to share, right? There are moments where you get so bottled up. Think of this like almost like a weakness that you guys have that needs to be exercised every once in a while. So for example, if you were going to go to the gym and you're going to work out your calves, right? Say you haven't worked out your calves in 6 months or whatever. I don't even know how many calf exercises you would do, but like you're going to work out a muscle. We'll say this, you're going to work out a muscle. You're going to wait for that muscle to recover before you work it out again, which means that you don't want to get into a position where you have to talk so much and express yourself so much and teach and educate and be in center stage and being center of attention, right? You don't want to be in that position so much that you get worn down, right? Also, you don't want to avoid communication to the point where you get worn down from holding it in. Does that make sense? Like you don't want to hold it in to the point where you get worn down from like not expressing it, if that makes sense. So one thing that I am seeing here is this worn down health kind of issues, which is interesting because I see it's health issues that doesn't really impede your energy too much. You guys always kind of have this sense of energy about you, but you do experience some health issues because of this either communicating too much or not communicating enough. So I hope I made myself clear with that balance. Basically, when you have a lot on your mind, it is important to communicate. But you guys aren't always like that, so you don't always need to communicate. That's basically what I'm trying to say here. Also, what I'm seeing here with this 8 of swords, this woman is kind of tied up, and I am seeing this as you guys being in kind of like a little bit of a straitjacket. This is another thing that you guys need to empty out every once in a while. You need to find people where you can express your energy around them. So what I'm seeing with the Seven of Spades, this talks about accidents and health issues. It's kind of getting repeated here. The health kind of conditions are getting repeated in general. But it talks about like absorbing too much and then needing to release. Like it literally is the same thing as this card. It's like it's just showing up as like different cards. I am seeing that you guys, because you move so quickly and move so fast paced, that if you don't have an outlet, an easy, nice outlet for your energy, you could run into situations where you have accidents. Like you could run into something, or, you know, maybe you like bump into someone at the grocery store and they get upset. Maybe their groceries fall to the floor or something like that. They're holding them in their hands or something. So there's like little accidents and things could happen based on like you're having your energy going in sporadic directions, which means that you need to channel it, right? You need to channel your energy and not feel like you have to be in the straitjacket all the time. If you're around people and you feel like you can't express your energy, that's not the best sign for you guys. I feel like you guys, on one hand, are people who need to truly express that energetic vibration of yourself, right? This talks about communication. This talks about your energy, right? With this woman in this straitjacket, it's talking about too often do you guys restrain yourselves to please others. You hold back your own energy to please others. Now, the thing is that can work temporarily, right? If people are like, oh, finally, they're not moving around, like I can relax because they're not being a busybody, right? I do see that you doing that is good in that situation because you are helping that person out and it's coming from a good place. I know you guys feel the pain of others, so it's coming from a place of like you don't want to be a burden, but truthfully and honestly, it will cause more damage in the long run if you do not find a healthy way to express that energy. So the main thing that I'm seeing on your core is that you are an energetic person. You know, your health is only a product of misuse of communication. And really, truly, like with your family, you can be fully open and compatible and easygoing. It's like your family is the one who accepts you the most. I think no matter what, no matter where you are in life, your family will always accept your creativity. Whatever project you've got going on that you started, Jack of Spades talks about initiations into some kind of life project that changes your life. Whatever project you got going on, like I talked about earlier, where you guys want the you're only going to do it if you feel motivated to do it, right? If it's something that you want to do, you put in full force motivation. Those projects and stuff that you've got going on, your family's totally accepting of that. Most of the time, I would say almost all the time, because we have such positive energy with these two cards, you know. Your family is really where your saving grace is going to be, where you can really express yourself and be fully yourself around them. Other people too, like close friends and stuff, that could also be true. Especially if it's a close friend that you regard as family, you should be able to really express your full self around them. I'm even seeing that creates like bonds with people, as if you feel like you can express your energy around that person and them not take it personally or feel offended or anything like that. I feel like then you feel like that person, you created a bond with them, and that's someone you can really trust, right? So something about your core value and one of your core lessons is to learn the value of companionship, family, friendship, trust, really true connections where you can fully express your full self with those people. So remember this Seven of Spades. Think of this Seven of Spades like a cup. Like this is the bottom, the stem, and then this is the cup, right? So you think of it as like, you know, you're bottling up your energy, holding back with this straitjacket right here, but every once in a while you have to dump out that energy. You guys are kind of the types that have to have a little bit of a release in life. So something you are at your core is someone who holds things in. You kind of hold things in and you need to release them every once in a while. And I am saying that you guys aren't the biggest communicators. It's not like you're the biggest talkers in the world. Like you're definitely more doers than talkers is kind of what I'm seeing. So one thing that I am seeing is like, just release. Have that release for your energy, have that release through communication is important with this one. I'm seeing this one is taking much more of an issue than this energy thing right here. You guys might realize that if you bottle up your energy too long, like little accidents will happen because you like run into things, or think of a bull in a china shop kind of vibes, you know? And so like you have to kind of, it's release basically. Like the bottling up has to be released is kind of what I'm seeing with both of these things, right? Now we get into this cool aspect about your personality that I don't think you guys are that much aware of, and it comes from your empathy, your sense of empathy with others. One thing that I am seeing with this Five of Swords reverse, this talks about domination and wanting to dominate others, but alienating yourselves from them. I see this as the opposite of you guys. So for example, I see you guys for the most part with this when I see Five of Swords reversed, a meaning that I've been getting recently in like personal readings and doing like readings for friends and family is this feeling of connection, like merging of boundaries, where I see the Five of Swords upright as like setting boundaries, or, you know, saying like, this is mine, that's not, this is mine and that's not yours, or this is mine and you don't have this, or something like that. I see this as a very much of a boundary free zone, right? And with the Ace of Hearts here, I see that you're like this a lot with people you're interested in romantically, right? You're not afraid of other people that you're interested in romantically overstepping boundaries towards you. You're actually more diffuse in that department, is kind of what I'm seeing. Just love in general, self-love in general. The more you guys love yourself, the more you feel like connected to your own inner emotions, the more those boundaries blur. And a lot of people would think, you know, because in today's society, we very much talk about boundaries as being really important, right? With this boundaryless card, this is very much like Neptunian energy, where it wants you to merge with others. It wants you to kind of feel what other people are feeling and you express what you're feeling. There is this feeling of like a secret desire, because it's in the reverse. It talks about kind of desires too. It's talking about wanting to merge with another person so fully that you have that full, true self-love for yourself, if that makes sense. So self-love is really important for also attracting partners, right? I think that you guys at your core being, you attract your most successful romantic relationships when you fully love yourself completely. And so I do see that part of that journey is to let out some of these energies that have been bottled up around other people that you love, so you can really feel like you're fully caring for yourself. This is like self-care. It's funny because before this reading, I looked at my self-care deck and I was like, I should really pull a self-care card for these people, for all my people on YouTube, because I feel like it would be helpful for them. But this is just in general talking about like self-care for yourself. And the more you care for yourself, the more it will bleed out onto others. So for example, the more you care for yourself, the more other people will be comfortable in your presence. The more other people will be happy and like feeling like they want to share with you, or the more other people will feel like they want to be in love with you too, right? The Ace of Hearts talks about the desire for love. And so it does talk about this desire for just sharing and communication and bridging of boundaries. And it's interesting because I am still seeing that you guys are not the most chatty people, right? But if you had that one person that you fully trusted, I honestly see you guys having a very nice and easy flow of communication with that person, even though you're not the most chatty, right? I do see if you found that right person, the communication would flow so effortlessly. And I think that's a secret dream that you guys have that you might not be aware of, is that you want a partnership where you can fully communicate. So you're looking for someone, you know, where you can merge boundaries with them, or merge, like, how do I put it? It's not really merging boundaries. It's like letting down your guard. They let down their guard. You know, you do something for them, they do something for you. There's kind of like a feeling of oneness, right? Like you becoming one with your partner of your dreams through a feeling of self-care. So I do feel like you guys will take care of your partner. They will take care of you. There's a feeling of luxuriating, stuff like that. There's this feeling of like a sense of comfort and oneness, and, you know, also sharing that oneness with other people. I think you guys really want to merge with a lot of different people. It's just hard because it's like knowing when to let out that energy, you know. But I think when you find the right person, a lot of these issues won't even be issues anymore. It's like you'll be able to be your energetic self. I think even your special person will take on some of the energy from you, if that makes sense. Like they'll absorb some of it so other people don't have to have it in their face all the time. I know you guys are worried about that, but just find those people that you love, people that care about you, people that you can be yourself around. I really think that your family, you're blessed in this life, and that your family is someone that you can really truly do that with. So you guys are really lucky on that front. I think that's about all I got for you guys. If you like this reading, please like or comment below. If you really resonated with my energy and you really like this reading, feel free to subscribe to the channel. And with that said, we're going to move on to group 3 with the Septarian. Oh, Septarian. Sorry, Septarian. And yeah, I really enjoyed reading for you guys. It was an honor to read for you guys today. You're a really cool person. It's funny because on the surface, you guys have this super spiritual like look to you and kind of like component to you, where you seem like you're like the most woke person in the room or something like that. And then like, you know, you're just a different person like on the inside, you know, which is kind of interesting. But yeah, so yeah, with that said, I'm going to move on to the next group, group 3. And thank you guys again so much for letting me read for you. It was really an honor. It was a pleasure. I had a lot of fun. So goodbye. Hey, group 3. This is if you picked the Septarian. So this lovely stone right here. Let's get into your reading. So who you truly are at your core. This first card is representing your surface self, which is the tiger. This card is representing your inner self, which is the fire ant. Then we have your playing cards, which are these 4 right here. And then your tarot cards, we have the Hierophant, the Page of Swords, the Knight of Swords reversed, and the Lovers reversed. Okay, I'm really excited to get into this one because I'm seeing a lot right off the bat. But yeah, let's get into it. So first I want to talk about the 2 animal oracle cards on the table for you guys. The first one with tiger here, we have a fire symbol, and with fire ant, we also have a fire symbol. So you guys are pretty, in general, impulsive. You have a lot of fire sign characteristics about you in your personality. So you might actually have a lot of like fire sign elements in your chart, or like you might have like, there's just a feeling of impulsivity is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. And also an adventurous spirit is kind of a thing that's coming through as well. You guys have more of an adventurous spirit. With tiger here on the surface, I'm going to be honest, you guys put up a tough guy, tough girl front. Like you guys act tough is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. And you like to use your eyes to act tough around others, if that makes sense. So specifically, you like to give either dirty looks or you kind of like to use your eyes to assert dominance with others. You guys might have very powerful eyes in general, and you like to use those to project energy onto others. So you guys are pretty intimidating, I think, up front. I think most people would find you very intimidating, to be honest. You have a very powerful presence. Like you guys are represented here as the tiger, which is one of the most powerful cards, I think, in this deck. You have a way of hypnotizing your opponents as well. If you have any enemies or something like that, you have a way of making them freeze or falter or stumble or something like that. You guys have a very powerful energy, right? People can't really handle, a lot of people can't even handle this energy is kind of what I'm hearing. It's like oh man. With the stripes too, I think you guys are good at camouflage. I think you guys are good at hiding who you truly are. We see that who you truly are is the fire ant, which is very interesting and very opposite to the tiger. It's like you guys on the inside are like this really tiny, insignificant animal, which is the ant, right? It's like anyone could squash you at any given time, but because your outer self looks like this tiger, no one really bothers you, right? And you have this super powerful outer exterior, but on the inside, your core self is like tiny and insignificant. You guys feel smaller than other people. You feel more fragile. But the cool thing about the fire ant too is fire ants also can bite. Even though they're small, they still pack a punch with their bite, especially when they're with their friends and their family, right? Fire ants have a whole big crew with them. And more than just friends and family, I'm seeing like acquaintances too. Like I'm seeing you guys are the type of person that makes alliances, right? Like you make alliances with people like, hey, if you scratch my back, I scratch your back, that kind of vibe. So I see you guys making a lot of alliances. And with fire ant, I feel like you guys have a lot of friends, a lot of people in your corner who are going to help you through, how do I put this? They're just going to help you when times get tough, right? So it's like you have double backing of protection here. For the first element, you seem very intimidating. Your outer appearance is intimidating, borderline threatening. Only I think when you guys want to appear that way, but still with your eyes, it's like you have a very intimidating, ferocious exterior. But because you feel like you're a little ant on the inside, there's this vibe here of like needing to find other ants to like help support your whatever you're doing in life, essentially. So I feel like you guys are definitely team players, right? You find a team, you find a group, and you stick with a group. I think you guys feel safer in bigger groups, like crowds. You might feel safer in crowds. You might feel more yourself in a group. I think you feel more of like yourself in a group that like has your same values and stuff like that is like what would be ideal. I don't know if a lot of you have found that yet, but one thing that I'm seeing is that with the fire ant here, there is this vibe of just working well with groups in general, working well with groups, knowing that if you have the backing of a group, you're protected, knowing that your friends have your back. If you guys ever get in any issues, it's not just you that's packing the punch, it's your friends too, right? It's like there's a group that like is loyal to you is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. And that's part of who you are at your core is like you're a team builder. So essentially at your core, you're a team builder. You're meant to have a lot of acquaintances in this lifetime. You're meant to have a lot of friendships. You're meant to have a lot of people that support you and stand up for you when other people are trying to talk shit to you or something like that, or talk bad about you or something like that. There is this vibe that other people are there to support you. So that's part of your core self. And with the 2 fire symbols, I do see you no matter what, you're still a little impulsive, adventurous, spontaneous, that kind of thing. Now let's get into your core aspects about yourself. They're kind of separated into 2 groups, where the rest of the groups have like one individual section for each. You guys have like 2 main themes for your core self. The first part of your core self with the 7 of clubs and the 9 of clubs is I think you guys are okay with letting go of thoughts, especially if they're negative thoughts, or especially if they're limiting thoughts and beliefs and thought structures. I see that you guys have like certain systems of thoughts, or even rules, maybe could even be rules, because we have the Hierophant here, which makes me think of society's rules, and because it's in the reverse, I'm seeing that you guys really don't like conforming to society. There is this vibe too of like not wanting to be told what to do, and knowing that like you don't have to hold on to any sort of thought or belief system that you don't want to, right? If someone tells you like, oh, you should believe in this, you guys say, nope. It's like you guys want to keep your head clear is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. It's almost like you guys know that the person who advances the furthest in the game of life has their head clear of any kind of influential thoughts or beliefs. First of all, 7 of clubs and 9 of clubs are very spiritual cards, right? They're odd numbered cards, which they can indicate challenges, but for the most part with you guys, I'm seeing that you guys really let go of any kind of negative thought or belief system that doesn't work for you. One thing that I am seeing is that because of this, you guys are able to keep a clear head in most situations, and you're able to strike when the time is right. We see that again here with the Page of Swords, with the sword ready to be swung and him holding it back and waiting for the right time. With these clouds behind him, they represent thoughts and daydreams in his mind, right? Because you guys have this ability to maneuver your thoughts so well is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. I think earlier in life, you guys struggle with negative thinking, for sure. I think you guys struggle with negative thinking and having thoughts and beliefs that you didn't like having in your head. You're like, why is this in there? I don't like that. So I think that you guys have really learned to let go of these thoughts, especially with 9 of clubs. This talks about enlightenment in general. So I think you guys have this ability, or you had maybe like a mini enlightenment so far in your life, or a kind of moment where you realize your thoughts don't really mean jack shit, to be honest. Your thoughts don't mean anything, and I think you guys realize that I'm going to just, if I don't like the thought that I'm having, I'm not going to attach myself to it. I'm just going to let it go. If you guys aren't in this place yet, this is your core self. This is one of your main lessons you're meant to learn. So if you guys have any negative thoughts and you just don't attach yourself to them, it gives you guys a clearer head to see where to go. It's like these birds up in this Page of Swords. I don't know if you can see that there's little birds up there. It just gives you the clear skies to have the go ahead, right? So you guys can always make the right decision, right action, take action when you need to, do what you need to do when you need to do it. I think that's why a lot of this could represent society's values, but it also just represents in general, like someone telling you what to do, like having like a leader or authority telling you what to do. Because I am seeing that you guys don't like that so much, because you're almost like, I don't want to have to deal with all these other thoughts and opinions and beliefs of this other person. It's not necessarily the authority that you chafe at. I feel like if there was a leader that didn't really tell you, how do I put this? If there was a spiritual leader or even some kind of leader that didn't tell you to think certain things or do certain things or be a certain way, I think that you guys would honestly just like that leader a lot. If that leader gave you a lot of freedom, you wouldn't mind having a leader, right? It's just that a lot of leaders impose their philosophy and belief on others, right? So I feel like you guys would chafe under the restraint of a lot of different religions or philosophies. I feel like you guys probably, when you watch YouTube videos on spirituality, you probably find people you like, but then as soon as they start shoving their philosophy down your throat, you're like, okay, forget this, and you just bank out, right? So yeah, I do feel like you guys have this vibe. I'm thinking my own videos. If you guys have watched my channel before, I'm like, oh, what did I say that made them like chafe, you know? So anyway, yeah, basically you guys just want to keep a clear head. You want to keep a clear head. You want to decide for yourself what you want to believe in. I think if you guys want to alter your perception of your thoughts, you could always use positive affirmations. That is always something that you could use to help with your own thoughts and thinking. With Nine of Clubs though, I really do see you guys just letting go of certain thoughts, beliefs, structures, concepts. Like you really let it go and you let your mind just wander wherever it wants to go to. It's like your mind wanders wherever it wants to go to. You guys yourselves as a person on this earth wander wherever you want to go to. You're very exploratory. And so even though you have these kind of connections with the mind and separating yourself from the mind and stuff like that, and separating yourself from authority and ideas being passed on to you by other authority figures, you have this ability to know when the right time is to act. We see that again here at the Page of Swords, and that comes from the fact that you guys are pretty enlightened already in this lifetime. You have this ability to be aware, just to be naturally to be aware. And so you have to know when is the right time to strike. You know, like a good timing for things to happen, basically. Also, no, that's all I got. Okay, so now I'm going to read this section for you guys, okay? Knight of Swords talks about especially in reverse, talks about an uncomfortability with conflict. It talks about the fact that even though you guys are dominant and you set up distance and you're threatening and stuff like that, when you feel tension in your close communications with close people to you, you feel like leaving. It's like you don't want to just sit around and dwell on those negative emotions that other people are presenting. You're like, okay, screw this, I'm going to leave, right? And I think that you guys have this ability with the Five of Hearts above the Knight of Swords to go and explore different options. And also this is one of those things where I think, honestly, just go and collect more friends. Honestly, with this fire ant energy, with the Five of Hearts here, I do see you guys kind of having this vibe of like, when things get tough, it's like, okay, there's more fish out in the sea. I'm just going to go find someone else and they're going to be, you know, my friend for the night or whatever. And like, you have no problem being social and making friends. And I do see that this works to your benefit, because honestly, space with this Five of Hearts and this Knight of Swords, space is the solution to these things, right? I do think you guys go back to old friends. You're not just like a cut them off and dry them out, you know? Like, you're not going to just leave friends in the dust, essentially. You come back to your other friends. You have like, I feel like with the fire ant, this is like such a big social circle that you guys have. It's like you have so many friends and so many acquaintances and so many people that you know. So I definitely think that like with the Five of Hearts and the Knight of Swords, going to explore and making more connections doesn't hurt you guys in the least. You guys thrive with a lot of acquaintances and a lot of connections. Even if you don't know people deeply, it's good that people know you. The more people that know you, the better you're protected, essentially, right? And that's your core sense of self, is like knowing a lot of people. This is definitely my group who I think that you know, sometimes people might mistake you for an introvert, maybe, or something because of your nonconformity, but for the most part, you guys are my extroverts, like my hardcore extroverts, right? It's like strength in numbers all the way, right? With the Lovers card in reverse and the Eight of Hearts here, I do think you guys dream of a really powerful love connection. So even though you have a lot of acquaintances, you have a lot of people that are in your social circle, I do think you guys have this playboy, playgirl attitude about like love and relationships. So I do think that in your core, you really want deep, meaningful connections. I do see this doesn't necessarily mean one connection. It can mean multiple. So if you guys are really associate and you identify with polyamory, this would be a situation like that, or this could be representative of something like that. But mainly I'm seeing that you guys have a lot of love and healing power, especially in your relationship. So for example, if you are in a romantic connection with someone and you guys are hooking up a lot and you're really exploring each other and you're getting to know each other and you're trying to find out who the other one is, whether you realize it or not, you are healing them emotionally, physically. You have a healing force on people who are your love interests, right? And I'm specifically seeing it with love interests. It's like you have a healing ability, you have a healing touch with these people. And so I'm definitely seeing a lot of people really want to be lovers with you, because it's almost like after you hook up with someone, when they leave that bedroom and they walk out of that bedroom and people see that person afterwards, they're like, whoa, they went through a glow up, right? Just because they hooked up with you. It's like you guys are like the fountain of youth with sex. It's like there's this vibe of like, even if you guys aren't sexually active yet, or you're just like kissing people or something, if you hold hands with someone or kiss someone or be physically affectionate with them, they're glowing afterwards. It's like you guys have this invigorating, stimulating effect on others. So for example, you have this ability to really make people glow, right? And really, I feel like people trust you when they get intimate with you. People really feel trusting of you, right? It's one of those things too where I feel like people feel trusting of you. So you guys might have had to learn in the past to kind of tell people, if you only want to hook up, like this is what it is and that's all there is to it, and you have to be very open and upfront with them. The lovers here with both their nudity, which I had to cover up, sorry guys. I know we don't get to see these beautiful naked people. But because of their nudity, it's like you get to fully reveal and they get to fully reveal themselves to you. So I do see like very honest and open communications with your love interests, And I do think you guys will settle down eventually, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting, especially with the lovers here. I think you'll settle down with someone who really stimulates you on the physical level. I think that something about being stimulated on the physical level and the emotional level, they go hand in hand for you guys. I think that you need someone you're very attracted to. Is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. Someone who like has, the looks of your dreams and the touch of your dreams and stuff like that. So that's a part of your core, is like dreaming of this love. And I think a lot of other things, because reverse cards can talk about dreams and fantasies, or like what's going on in your head. With Knight of Swords, one of the thoughts that I'm thinking is you guys just want to avoid conflict, right? If someone's causing drama, you're like, I'm out of there, right? And I think it's interesting because a lot of people agree with you on this. I think a lot of people who are in your circle of acquaintances don't like drama either. They're like, okay, yeah, if you're going to cause drama, like I think you could easily ice someone out if you wanted to because of the drama they caused. And I think that people in this isolation might feel a little bit of shame about like what the problems that they're causing in the group. And that's when they might, like if you guys talked to them later, you gave them space, remember that giving them space aspect, they would change their tune, right? They'd change their tune and they'd be like a better friend to you, or they'd be better equipped to handle you or something like that. There's something about space being helpful in this group. I also think with the Hierophant here, you guys don't like being match made. Like you don't like having someone being the matchmaker in your relationships. You don't want to be introduced to someone. You guys like exploring yourselves with this Five of Hearts here. You like exploring and meeting people on your own. You like, it's not about like someone it's funny. I think that people in your life have kind of come up to you and they've tried to be like, hey, you should meet so-and-so. And you're like, you know what? I'm going to meet them when I'm going to meet them. It all comes down to being in the right place at the right time and having yourself unencumbered by like these thoughts, right? I think you guys could easily, with positive affirmations, manifest a love interest into your life. You guys don't have any shortage of love interests, it seems. You guys have a charm about you that's like really contagious, is what I'm seeing. I just see you guys having so many acquaintances, so many friends, so many people that are on your side. And it's interesting because your core self are these people. It's these other people are part of your core self, because it's like you feel insignificant. So you're making friends with other people who are also insignificant. And it's like together there's power, right? With the group, there's power. And even though you present yourself as this tiger person, or this is how people view you, you have that intimidating look about you, even people with your eyes here in the moon, I think people might think you're psychic, or that when you look at them, you can see right through them, even though maybe you can't. That's the impression people get of you, is like, whoa, they can see right through me. They know exactly what I'm going through, or they know exactly what I'm thinking right now. So yeah, I'm going to end the reading there. If you guys like this reading, please like or comment below. If you really enjoyed this reading, feel free to subscribe to the channel. That's also, if you resonate with my energy, feel free to subscribe to the channel. We're always welcoming new subscribers here. And with that said, we're going to move on to group 4 with the Prehnite. Thank you guys again so much for letting me read for you. It was truly an honor. You guys are kind of intimidating to read for, but it was really fun to read for you, actually. You have a good energy. So moving on to group 4, and I will see you guys in the next pick a card. Bye. Hey group 4, this is if you picked the Prehnite, this lovely green stone right here. Prehnite's a fun one. Fun fact, I keep hearing this or reading this places. Prehnite actually can help with your intuitive gifts too. Like especially with divination. I hear that all the time. I actually have my other Prehnite here right now. I'll show you my other Prehnite. It's like this one with the bubbles, the grapes that people like. Yeah, so Prehnite can help with like your intuitive gifts or helping you channel intuition. It also associates with the heart chakra too, so fun fact. Okay, so your first card here for who you truly are at your core, we have your surface self, so who you appear to others, and then we have your deeper self, who you are on the inside. And then we have your playing cards. And then we have your tarot cards. Wow, all upright cards. Okay. Okay, let's get into your guys' reading. So first we have the beaver here and golden egg, which is I'm going to cover first. This represents who you are on the surface, and this golden egg represents who you are on the inside. One thing that I'm seeing, especially with beaver here, you guys are very security focused, especially with this earth symbol here. When you take people and situations in your life, you take them seriously. You're not one to mess around or goof off, or you definitely are someone who takes things very seriously. With beaver here, you expand and you build for the future, and especially right next to this two of wands, which I'm also seeing is planning and home life together. There is this vibe that you guys are the leader in your home situation or your home environment. You are the one that like leads the group, or you're the one that kind of is the one that orchestrates everyone into following a specific plan of action. And you kind of represent yourself this way as the beaver person. I am seeing this beaver as being all lit up and then this dark forest behind him. And I am seeing that you guys could be the light in a dark time for other people. You guys represent this person that's this kind of lit figure for others. And so you guys have this kind of glowing nature to you that I think that other people really appreciate. It's a very security, it's a warm feeling. I think you guys give people this warm security, sense of security feeling. And it all comes with like the deeper sense of self with the golden egg here. Your deeper sense of self is this like heart. This is the dealing with the heart chakra, the golden egg, which is funny you guys picked the Prehnite because that is a heart chakra stone, and I was mentioning that earlier. But the golden egg is representative of someone who has a pure golden heart, someone who has such good and pure intentions that is really, truly, and honestly blessed as far as like their own ethical code. I think that you guys, honestly, we have this a little bit here with justice, where it talks about you guys have in the past strayed from this ethical code, or you have strayed from your own heart-centered nature. It's like you have had temptations before. And we see what happens with the Seven of Diamonds. You guys have had some financial challenges or something like that when you've dealt with certain temptations in your life, or dealing with some kind of karma from the past. That is kind of how your guys' karma is represented here, is as financial challenges. But mostly with this heart-centered energy, you're just the fact that you're a good person is who you are at your core. And that's something that needs to be reiterated. Not everyone at their core is like, I mean, I personally believe that everyone at their core is a good person. That's just a belief that I have. I think that everyone's trying their best. But I think for you guys specifically, like, you are a really good person at your core. Even if you don't think you are an amazing person. You really connect with others in a way that shows genuine care and concern. And I really think that you guys have this way of just bridging the distance with other people in a loving way to really harmonize relationships with other people. Also with this egg being in a nest here, I do see that part of you at your core is someone who has potential. You're probably the seed that starts a lot of ideas. We see that again here with the Page of Pentacles, right? You guys are at your core the initiator of many things. It's like you are the one that initiates the activity. You're the one who kind of starts the activity. With King of Spades here above the Two of Wands, I do see that you guys have this ability to be really powerful leaders, specifically in your home environment and specifically with planning trips. So for example, if you're planning a vacation, you could be a really powerful leader. Also, you could be a very powerful leader or presence on any kind of online or internet platform. I often see the Two of Wands as internet and online activities because I do see he's holding the world. And I do think of the World Wide Web as a thing that we have access to the whole world. So I do honestly think of the internet as like long distance travel sometimes, or it could be synonymous with that. Like, you know, a lot of things that happen over the internet could be dealing with long distance travel or people from other countries and stuff like that. So for example, you guys are the type of people who could be a really powerful leader in some kind of online business or online community or online blog group. There's something about people looking up to you online. And also people really respecting your ability to plan trips and vacations effectively. It's like you guys could be really great travel agents. And it's something that's interesting is that the whole world is something that you have at your core. It's like your core is this ability to be connected to the rest of the earth, the rest of the world, the other countries, other civilizations, other people. Your core is to be connected to those people. Even though your home life is important with the beaver here, and you guys seem more home focused, your ability to connect to the world around yourself is really amazing. I think that if you guys were ever to meditate, I think that one thing that would be really cool is like, I think you guys could connect to other parts of the globe just through meditation. So for example, you might even be able to know what's going on in another country just through like meditating and dreaming of what it would be like to be at that country. And then when you get those images and stuff, I think that honestly people and experiences and stuff, you could see, it's like you guys have a way of like, I think also you guys, one thing that I'm seeing too is like with this world card here, with the world in his hand, I think you guys have this ability to learn languages easily, or part of your core is to understand the philosophies and the concepts and the languages and the cultures of other people. And I think it's interesting because I think you bring that back into your home environment. I think you guys are very well traveled, or you're going to be very well traveled in your life. There's something about bringing all these different cultures and places into your home environment to like have them and build them in that security and build up your castle essentially. Now with the next card I have here with Page of Pentacles, I think you guys are really, really good at making money. I really think that like a lot of your money-making ideas bring in huge returns with the Ten of Diamonds here. I think part of your destiny in this lifetime and who you are at your core is someone who thinks of these ideas and ways to make money. It's like you have the ability to profit off of a lot of ideas that you wouldn't think you could profit off of. You guys have a lot of small, insignificant ideas or ideas that you might feel are immature. And I think that's interesting because I feel like you guys are so responsible that your childlike side comes out in ways where it's like, oh, I want to start this project to do this to make money, or I want to start this project to do this to make money, or something like that. I am seeing that a lot of these ideas that you admire and you put on a pedestal would bring in a huge financial returns if you got the resources and the people to make them happen, right? Which I see here with the Three of Pentacles, another aspect in your life purpose and your core. I'm saying life purpose a lot because this is coming through very much as your destiny. Which is all a part of your core being. But just to reiterate, main thing that I'm seeing about your core being is this good person. Like no matter what happens in your life, know you are a good person and you have good like instincts about people and you care about people and you help people. And you guys are really just caring and concerning. I think that your heart, how do I put this? Even though you guys are security conscious and you provide a light for others, no one would know that this comes from your golden heart. I think you guys have such pure intentions compared to other people that it might be tough to live in a world that's as harsh as it is, right? With the fact that you guys have such pure intention, it might be hard to deal with the world outside yourself, essentially. So I feel for you guys, but like, just know that you are a good person, and that orates out, and you can, even though you can only affect so many people, you can affect the close people in your life and the people that are around you, and you can make those people into better people and good people and stuff like that. So with the Three of Pentacles here, I do see that you're going to have the teammates and the collaborators to make some of these dreams a reality. I do see with the Ten of Diamonds, huge financial returns on these projects and these money-making ideas that you have, right? It's like something, it could be something you've admired ever since you were a kid, right? Some money-making idea you've admired ever since you were a kid, like, man, I could make money doing this, or I could do this. Really, with the Ten of Diamonds here, it really could be very, very profitable. With the Three of Hearts here, there is kind of a vibe here that you might have some indecision with choosing these partners in life, is kind of the vibe that I'm seeing. It's funny because this reading's coming through as more of like your life story, even though this is who you are at your core. Part of this about who you are at your core is to watch yourself evolve through this lifetime, essentially. So yeah, who you are at your core is just, you're a team player, right? You're a team player, and I just got confirmation, my air just shut off, so that's confirmation that you are a team player. You're a team player, right? You might have some indecision in picking team members. You might actually be better off following and joining pre-established teams, but you are a team player. I think you guys have a little bit of insecurity about love at your core, a little bit of insecurity about who to pick as a partner, who's going to be the most reliable. With the beaver here with the earth symbol, I do see you guys want someone who's a little bit reliable, or you kind of come across that way. So you might attract people who are more sturdy types, or people who want to build something for the future, or people who are just attracted to sturdy types. Maybe you attract some unstable people who are just attracted to sturdy individuals. But yeah, overall, you guys are a great team player. You're very cooperative. I'm not seeing so much like, even though I'm seeing that you guys lead in your home environment, you lead like trips and expeditions out of the home, or you have this way of organizing people around you in the home unit to, like, you take charge essentially when it comes to the home and the world and world events and stuff like that. You guys take charge. With the Three of Pentacles here, I do see that ultimately you guys are really, really concerned with being a team member, right? You really want to be part of a team. You really just want to be someone who gets along with other people and they get along with you. With the Three of Hearts here, this talks about expressing your true self. I see that you guys can really express your true self and who you are through teamwork, right? You can really express your true feelings through teamwork, through group projects, through building things together. You guys really, in truth, are a builder. We see that again here with the beaver, and it's funny because your core self shows through in your surface attributes, right? You are a builder. You're a builder of the future. You're a builder of projects. You're a builder of wealth. You're a builder of community. You're a builder of with this Two of Wands here, you're a builder of the world, right? You actually, a lot of your projects could extend far beyond your home base. With the Justice card here and the Seven of Diamonds, I do see that there is kind of a karmic payback where you might have a few financial difficulties in your life because of something that happened in a past life that is coming back into this life. So it's nothing about you guys. It's nothing about how good or bad you've been in this lifetime. It's something from a past life, some financial difficulty that will come. I also see that the Justice card being here representing your true self. Part of you is just, with the Seven of Diamonds, is very grateful for things in your life. You're also very grateful for the systems and organization in society. So you might be grateful for rules and regulations. You might be grateful for the paperwork you have to fill out, which is interesting because I think a lot of us are not that proud of or grateful for the paperwork they have to fill out or the governments that we live with. A lot of people are, they don't appreciate these things, but I think you guys ultimately appreciate the systems and the order in society that you are a part of. And so with the Seven of Diamonds here, I do see you guys have this faith in the system, or a faith in justice in general, and that the right thing will happen at the right time. Even if you guys get hurt in the process, you know that karma is coming back to the people who really deserve it. You guys are aware of this karmic balance in your life. I think that's another reason why you guys are such good people. Besides the fact that you just enjoy being good people at your core, I think that this karma is something that you're intimately involved with as far as your own life, right? You know that because you're a good person, you receive all this good karma, right? So Seven of Diamonds also talks about like gratitude for financial things like money and stuff like that. So I do think you guys have this sense of gratitude, especially for the system and karma and how karma works, but also just for the fact that you have gratitude for your financial picture wherever it's at, right? Even if you guys are still young, right, and you're just barely having these ideas and they haven't manifested into great wealth like what we see here with the 10 of diamonds, we do see that you guys have faith that in the future you will be provided for by the universe. You guys have this unbinding faith that, like, yes, I will be provided for. Things will come to me easily. Things will come to me effortlessly. You know, I believe in the systems that I am a part of. You know, I believe they are going to work for me. I believe that there is an order to these things. Justice also represents an order, you know. Yeah, I just think that there's a sense of goodness in you, a goodness and belief in the universe that's going to come back and reflect back to you. Even if there's bad things happening in the world, right? Even if things are happening in the world that are not to your liking and these are things outside yourself, I do think that your goodness has a reflection like from within yourself outwardly to other people, where other people can feel that goodness and they change their tune too. You know, like people are changing their attitude because of your attitude, and it's really contagious is what I'm seeing. And that's who you are as your core self. It's like you're this person who's supposed to, you know, organize people and get them moving in the right direction and providing projects for others to work with. And I really see you guys as the visionary for a lot of these group projects that you're working on. That's another part of your core self, is you guys are the visionary. You see the vision, you see what needs to be done, right? Just like this beaver and how you work on your own home and you kind of see the vision and how your home life needs to be. And you're like, okay, I need to buy this piece of furniture. I need to do this. I need to fix that door. I need to do this. With the beaver card here, I am seeing that like you have this vision for projects and teamwork, right? So it's not just like your home that you're building, but with this cathedral here, you're building like mammoth projects and architecture and stuff like that. You guys could be architects in general, or you could be thinking about getting into architectural design. That would be definitely, with the 3 of Pentacles here, would be a good career path for you guys. But I do see you guys just have that vision. You know, you have that vision for financial projects, the future. Yeah, with this guy holding this pentacle and also him holding the world, I'm seeing that financial projects and world events are kind of go hand in hand for you. It's almost like you see what the world needs, essentially. And that's how you guys can make your biggest bang for your buck. And it's funny because I see you guys as very homebodies in general. So something online could be more beneficial for you guys than anything, because I do see that it's connected to the world, but you still get to stay at your own home base. So taking a leadership position online, whether that's through a blog or a website or an advertising agency, whatever it is, I do see that like you guys have this ability to connect with the world from your home base. And really your home base is what keeps this golden egg kind of shining bright, right? It keeps your heart centered, right? By having that close-knit, security conscious home environment that you shine the light on. You know, your close friends and people who are close with you, just through expressing yourself, what we see here with the 3 of Hearts, there is this vibe that you're really showing people the true you. And that's in that person that you are at your core, just through self-expression, can really bring in good people around you and create that kind of good amoeba of like people around you, where you kind of, I don't know, there's this vibe of like being wholesome or feeling security conscious, and also being able to provide for yourself. You guys have a lot going for you in this lifetime. I think it's many lifetimes of being a good person that is coming into this lifetime to where you're getting all this success. It's like, you were a really caring, good, amazing person, very giving person in previous lifetimes. And I think in this lifetime, you're just able to expand upon that and make more money and get your resources to really work to your advantage, I think. And remember, even if you have bad things happen to you in this lifetime, it says nothing about your character in this lifetime. It's from a past lifetime if you have any negative things happen to you. And I think even if you have some negative things happen to you, you realize that the system works to your advantage, right? Or most often the system works to your advantage, unless you've been unfair or dishonest or cheated or something like that. The system always works to your advantage. And I see that you guys have a lot of faith in that system. So, yeah. I'm going to end your guys' reading there. I really enjoyed reading for you. It was an honor. It was a pleasure. Thank you for coming today to watch this reading. If you like this reading, please like or comment below. If you really enjoyed this reading and you resonate with my energy, feel free to subscribe to the channel. And with that said, we're going to move on to group 5 with the Hematoid Quartz. Thank you guys again so much for watching. It is truly appreciated. Hey group 5, this is if you picked the Hematoid Quartz. So it's a cool stone. I like that little cut right there, that you can see that. That's why I bought this stone actually. Anyway, so let's get into your reading, all about who you truly are at your core. So first card at the top of the deck is the surface attributes of yourself, who you are on the surface, and we have lizard. And then this is more of your core personality. We have moth. Then we have the playing cards that we're going to be drawing today. Then we have the tarot cards that we will also be drawing today. Wow, okay. 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 Let's get into your reading. This one is a bit more complicated than the other groups, just like from reviewing it offhand, but I'm going to try and do my best to read the energies here. Okay, so let's start with your surface attributes and then your deeper self. So we have a fire and an air symbol here. So first of all, your outer self is in general just more impulsive, or people think you're more impulsive or spontaneous or adventurous than you really are. I see that people think that you are, with the lizard in all the scales on this card and the lizard here, I think people think you have a sense of a little bit of an armor about you, like you're armored a little bit. There's also this vibe here with all the colors with the lizard. I think people think you're very open. I'm thinking of like LGBT and, you know, the queer community. And I'm thinking like with all these colors here, like someone being very like open or like understanding or something like that. I do think that people think you have kind of a sense of self where you're really available for like different perspectives and different people and different cultures and stuff like that. I think that people think you have a strong ability to see different perspectives. At least on the surface, that's what people think of you. Also, what I'm seeing is with the lizard here, people think that you are like, you're frozen at one point and then all of a sudden you move. This has to do with like your physical sense of self, right? This is how people view you. It's like you'll be sitting in one place for a really long time, maybe like staring at someone for a really long time or just looking off in the distance for a really long time. And then all of a sudden they'll look back and you've like moved away or you've gone away. Just kind of how a lizard moves, where they're like staying in one place and then all of a sudden they've darted off into another location, right? So people think you either like are there for very too long. Like people think like, wow, they're here for a really long time. Like they must really like this environment. They must really like where they're at. Or people think that you're like evasive or like don't want to be caught is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. That comes back to the moth card, which is more the vibe of don't want to be caught, is kind of more your true core is kind of what I'm seeing. Because with the lizard here, it's like people might think you really like to stay in a place for a long time when really you're just waiting for your opportunity to escape, right? The moth card talks about independence. It also talks about following our desires, but possibly being burned by them, just like the moth to the flame, right? So I do think that you guys are attracted to people who you find desirable at your core, but these are people that could possibly burn you. And we see this again here next to the tower with the moth card next to the tower. It's almost like you guys are attracted to things that could destroy your inner sense of stability or peace or the order that you've set up for yourself. Now we see this is actually a good thing, because I'm seeing that you guys, on one hand, it's like you, even if you set up an order or a structure for your life, you're so independent, you're so free-spirited, you wouldn't want to live by that order for long. You would start to feel hemmed in and how do I put this? You would start to feel like trapped. I'm seeing it's like you guys would start to feel trapped or start to feel like you're like claustrophobia, I think, would set in. If you think of this building, like think of like being claustrophobic or stuck in a tower, atop a tower and not being able to leave, right? There is this vibe that you are attracted to people who will destroy your inner structure, your inner order, because you need to experience that freedom, right? That's part of your true core self, is to experience this freedom. And you have this like karma in this lifetime to experience release from that order and structure over and over again. So whatever it is you're attracted to, it's going to undermine the stability in your life because you're meant to be in a mercurial place, right? Because that's what you truly desire, is that sense of freedom. You desire that sense of feeling free from, it's not really responsibilities. That's not what I'm seeing. It's like you desire to be free from some kind of system that was put in place, either by society or by you or by someone else. I'm seeing a lot of it is by you, because the Tower I always see as the antithesis to the Emperor card. The reason for this is they're based on the same like material, right? The Tower is sitting on this rock, and behind the Emperor card, there's these mountains that are like just made of rock. And so I see like stability is the main thing for the Tower and the Emperor. Also, the Tower is, there's an Emperor hat being shot off the Tower, right? So the thing that I'm getting in general with the Tower is just like the order or structure that you have built for yourself, whatever you find stable or whatever you find, it's probably really difficult, for example, for you guys to keep an order or structure for long. Yeah, and it's one of those things where it's important that these things are destroyed, right? These orders and structures are destroyed because you're meant to experience them temporarily and then release them, is kind of the vibe that I'm getting. It's almost like you're meant to have kind of like an unbalanced life, because I'm seeing that with this air symbol right here, you guys really appreciate that suspension or that feeling of flying or that feeling of floating or that feeling of being in the air. We see that again with the moth being a flying creature and these two people falling out of the tower. One of the things you could argue with this Tower card is, are these people actually falling, or do they feel liberated, right? Are they finally feeling like free, right? Only surrounded by air, they have ultimate freedom, right? Wouldn't it be amazing if in this tower they were falling off and then all of a sudden they realized they could fly? You know, it's like the difference between falling and flying. There's actually a song by Grizz, and it's on his new album. I think it's called Aurora Boreas or something. It's the name of the album is like the snake that eats itself, and the song is called it's like falling, flying, something like that. Flying, falling. Anyway, I would recommend you guys listen to that song. It's a pretty spiritual song in the sense that like it talks about letting go and stuff like that. But this is kind of reminding me of that concept, right? With these two people falling out of the tower, or versus flying. Like it's almost like you fall out of this tower and then with the moth you fly. So you guys aren't really destined to experience something where you're very grounded and structured and stable. You're meant to experience a lot of freedom and flight and experience like that. So let's get into other parts about your core self. Part of you with the Two of Pentacles here, you guys are a salesman type. Like you guys know how to sell yourself. You know how to sell items, clothes, whatever. You can sell pretty much anything is kind of what I'm seeing. You guys have this ability to like sell. With Two of Diamonds here, you're meant to make partnerships in this lifetime. And I do think that you're meant to sell and be that's another confirmation, right? With the air going off. But I do think you guys are meant to sell and even like import, export or something like that, or you're just meant to manage resources, right? You're meant to sell, manage resources, barter for goods. I think you guys can make a lot of money off this too. I think it's something in your life path. I think you're meant to be some kind of salesman or something like that. That's kind of the vibe that I'm getting with these two cards. It's an attribute, because the way this reading is going is it's like these are closer to the surface and then it gets deeper to your core as it passes to this side. It wasn't like that for all the groups, but it is like that for this group. So that salesman vibe is something that other people can probably see in you. People probably think like, oh yeah, they're definitely pitching me a bill of goods. But at the same time, you guys are so good at it that people often are like, you know what? Okay, fine, I'll buy. Like, that sounds like a good thing. I'll buy. That sounds like a good option. So I think that you guys have this ability to like make the sale essentially. And that's part of like your core being. Which you wouldn't think that would be like a core attribute of someone, but you guys are really good at sales. Like, also another aspect of yourself with the Queen of Spades and the Seven of Swords here. The Seven of Swords talks about deception or being hidden or being secretive, right? Part of you guys, your core personality is to be a little secretive, right? With the Queen of Spades, the reason for this is the Queen of Spades is a card that talks about working on the self in order to master the universe, right? So one thing that you're doing is you're being secretive because you're focusing on yourself, right? You're taking these swords from this camp and you're saying, you know what? I'm going to go sharpen these on my own. I'm going to work these on my own. And once I get these perfectly sharp, then I'm going to go back out into the world and explore the world. So part of your sense of self, I'm seeing, is to be introverted, or to have a kind of introverted place away from people where you can really work on yourself and master yourself. I think that mastering yourself is really important here. I think you guys really focus on becoming the best version of yourself possible, which is interesting because with the tower here, we see that those orders and structures that you use to help master yourself, you eventually abandon them, but it's almost like you keep the lesson, or you keep the journey, or something like that. You keep the nugget of gold that the order created, and then you abandon it, and you just have that piece of gold still with you. I don't think you guys, with the emperor representing rules and like regulations, like the emperor of a kingdom has like a law and order to the kingdom, right? I don't think you guys necessarily appreciate rules and regulations too much. So I think that you guys like to have your sense of flight or your sense of freedom when it comes to that as well. But overall, with the hidden part of yourself, I think that you guys like to keep secrets and keep things to yourself because you like to work on them for yourself first. It's almost like you like the projects for yourself. You like to do things for yourself. You like to focus on yourself before you express those things and share those things with others. The other thing that's core that I'm seeing about you, the Four of Spades. Four of Spades can sometimes talk about the home life or a home, and the Six of Cups talks about children. I really do think that if you guys have not had children yet, when you have children, your children will be a big part of your core identity. I think you will have a very, very close bond with your kids, to the point where I think that I think it'd almost be psychic in a sense. It'd almost be like this psychic bond between you and your children is kind of what I'm seeing. You'll just be very close with them. If you already have kids, you'll know this already. You'll be like, yes, I'm close with my kids, because I do see that you guys have this sense of like being so close with them that they're like, they fully trust you. They have full faith, and they just fully trust you. Your kids fully trust you for sure. I think that with the Four of Spades, the home life is important. I also think that you guys are pretty hard workers, and I think you work hard for your kids. I think you work hard for a family environment. I think you work hard for the future. With children here, I'm thinking the future, because if kids aren't in your life yet, they'll be in the future. I see that you guys work hard for that future. You get that sense of protection for the future. Also, I do think that like with the Four of Spades and the kids here, I think that you kind of can be stubborn with your kids a little bit. Or you have this way of being like, I know I'm right. And your kids might rebel a little bit, but for the most part, I see that your kids really admire that strength and stability that you have. And what some could view as stubbornness, like some other people watching your parenting style could say like, oh, they're such a stubborn parent. They don't, with their kids, they don't let them do anything, or they're too restrictive with their kids or something like that. Your kids appreciate that structure and stability is what I'm seeing. It's almost like they are happy about it. They appreciate it. They're glad it's there. Even though you guys have a lot of freedom and you don't keep a lot of order and structure in your life, it's like what you do for your children, they're very appreciative of that. And so there is this symbiotic relationship between you and your children. And that's part of your core identity, right? Is knowing how to handle your kids. You guys actually might be good with other people's kids or small pets or something like that. Other people's younger people could really look up to you in general and just think you're really such like an amazing person. They see you as someone who's stable and structured, which is ironic because you guys are constantly abandoning structures in your life, right? But people see you as a very stable figure. With the Queen of Diamonds here above the tower, one thing that I am seeing is you guys, how do I put this? There's a few messages coming through here. One's a warning with the Queen of Diamonds here. It's talking about spending away your money that created the stability in the first place. And it's saying that just because you're destroying a structure in your life doesn't mean you have to, when you have your freedom, to spend money on whatever you can get to rebuild that structure. Let yourself hang in that suspension, right? You don't have to kind of resupply everything with like tons of new toys and gadgets and items for the home and stuff like that. Because the Queen of Diamonds talks about overspending in the negative sense. And because the Tower is more of a negative card, I'm getting the negative version of Queen of Diamonds. But servicing other people through money could be very beneficial as well, like nurturing others through your resources and your finances. But yeah, what I'm seeing is that sometimes these reorderings, these tower moments, these restructurings of your life could be somewhat expensive if you guys don't disassociate the money from the actual experience of shifting the energy, if that makes sense. Because with the moth to the flame here, it could be that when you're leaving, abandoning this structure and you start to fly, when you see that flame and you're attracted to it, that might be when you want to spend money on that flame, for example. So for example, if it's a person, you might even want to spend a lot of money on this other person. Like, oh, this person's so amazing, so beautiful. This is the next new thing in my life. I'm going to spend so much money on them so they love me and they stay with me. That's not really what the cards are urging you away from that, even though that's part of your identity and what you do. They're just saying like that could also bring destruction in and of itself, right? So for example, if your next new thing is like, I'm going to destroy this bed that I've had for forever, I'm going to go buy a new bed, right? Don't waste all your money on purchasing the best, newest bed, because think about it, with this tower energy, things that come into your life are temporary, right? The order and structure that you have in your life becomes temporary. It's not about buying something that's going to last for forever, right? Which is interesting because I see that doing that for your kids is beneficial because they're more people who want structure and stability in their life, right? But for you guys yourselves, if it's something just for you with that Queen of Diamonds, it's best to not, maybe not purchase it, or maybe think twice about purchasing that item, because think about it, it's a flame, right? It's meant, once you reach that item again, it can re-destroy, it can get destroyed again, right? With the flames in the tower, it's like, purchasing the new item eventually could end with destruction or you selling the item again. So just keep that in mind. If you guys buy something new, you might end up selling it later. You might not actually, it might not be a permanent thing in your life. But with your kids, with the Queen of Diamonds next to the Four of Spades, I do see that buying them things is going to be helpful, because I do see your children have this sense of permanence about them, right? They want to keep things for a long time. It's funny because you're psychically connected to your kids, but you're very different than your kids. It's very interesting in that way. They want stable structure and security, and it's almost like you guys provide that. It's like, on one hand, you're an amazing parent, even though you guys on one hand are a little more unstable internally, like you're always shifting and you're always reordering your structures inside yourself. You're still able to provide that stability for your kids, that they really feel like contented, you know? Yeah, and so buying these things with this kid, older kid giving this younger kid things, teaching your kids that you can help people by buying them things is like showing your kids how to be generous, is kind of what I'm seeing. So I really do think that you service through money, which is what the Queen of Diamonds is all about, could really benefit as far as a role model to show your kids how to act and behave in the world. Also, with this secretiveness energy, it's okay to be secretive, to work on yourself. The more you keep some of your projects to yourself, to really work on yourself and your own sense of being, I think that really helps the world come to you more easily, and it brings good things into your life. Just working with yourself and being secretive about it, and working on mastering yourself and having that as a private goal, because I see that's a core identity of yours, but it's a private goal. You don't have to tell people you're working. Like, for example, if you start a workout program or a workout routine or something like that, you don't have to tell people about it. You can keep that to yourself. And I think that naturally you guys want to keep it to yourself. It's just that sometimes you feel like, well, maybe if I tell people, it'll really reinforce my goal and wanting to do that goal and stuff like that. No, I think that if you guys really keep things to yourself and really focus on that self-mastery and that keeping those things that you're trying to master in yourself secret, I think it's really going to help your environment cater to you, essentially, because it's almost like there could be a sense of mystery of like, what's her secret or what's his secret? How is he doing this? But the main thing that I'm seeing is it's just that like working on yourself like really just attracts the right things to you. It's like manifestation. When you change your inner thoughts and beliefs, then your manifestations will be attracted to you. It's kind of like that. So it's like working on yourself, mastering yourself really attracts these items in your surrounding, or things in your surrounding to you. Yeah. Real quick to reiterate, working with money, being a salesperson is really going to benefit you in this lifetime. Business partnerships are really going to benefit you in this lifetime. Working with others, making win-win deals with others is going to benefit you in this lifetime. It's part of your core identity is to work with other people. Yeah, the only reason this Queen of Diamonds is talking about money is not talking about the same thing as this selling and buying right here. It's talking about when you've taken away an ordered thing in your life to create a sense of openness and freedom and non-order before you find the next order. It's talking about not putting a lot of money into the next order. So for example, if you are like maybe your house gets destroyed or something like that, and you're like thinking in your head, I'm finally free. Like I left this house that I didn't like anymore, and I'm finally free, and we're out of this house, right? Then all of a sudden, a new house comes along, and instead of investing fully in the new house, like take your time to consider where you want to live. Like maybe you want to move to an apartment, maybe you want to move to something else. Like just because the next new shiny thing comes along doesn't mean it's the next ordered thing that you're going to experience, if that makes sense. Just take your time when purchasing new things. Whenever you feel that impulse to buy, just take your time and think like, do I really need this? Or will this really bring me the happiness that I want? So just think about that. I think that's about it. I think I'm going to end the reading there. I really enjoyed reading for you guys today. It was a lot of fun. It was a pleasure for me, honestly, to read for you guys. It's like it's a blast. When I have the energy to do it, it's just such a blast to do these readings. With that said, if you enjoyed the reading, please like or comment below. If you really enjoyed the reading, you can subscribe to my channel. And with that said, that was the last group for today, last pick a card. I really enjoyed reading for you guys. I said that already, but I'll say it again. And with that said, I'll bid you adieu. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.